detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for tuning in again. Tonight's episode, gentlemen, from Dusk Till Dawn. So a little bit of... Would it be fair to say this is more of a highbrow horror film? With such...
Not really.
areas as Tarantino involved?
Lowbrow.
Before we get to it, we're going to do a little up or down. Now, the trailer for the new Blumhouse movie Cam came out, I think it was yesterday. It's directed by a guy I've never heard of called Daniel Goldhaber, and it stars Madeline Brewer, who's in The Handmaid's Tale, and I think it releases on Netflix in the next couple of weeks. Thoughts on this one, Jared?
Yeah, look, I'm a tentative up. Like, it seemed interesting. Like, the idea is something that kind of makes you go, oh, okay, I'll have a look, which generally Blumhouse movies do. I couldn't tell you what really is going on in the trailer.
Yeah.
I just couldn't figure it. Like, I don't know. I thought I'd missed something after the first minute or so of the trailer because it seemed to shift gears and I couldn't tell. It looked like there was another person that looked exactly like her that was
taking over her
There's a body double taking over her feet, yeah.
But then there's the guy that's talking to her and it's like he's taken over it or something. I couldn't really decipher what was happening, but it's an interesting enough concept that I'll, given that it's on Netflix, I'll accidentally press it. Exactly.
Maddie?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks entertaining. And that's not just because she's in a bikini for the whole thing. But I reckon that there's going to be a creepy bait and switch in there with some dodgy white guy and one of her friends is going to be involved somehow. But that's from the 2-minute trailer. But who knows? But it's fitting right in with that whole thing, the Black Mirror thing of the technology's taking over and what's going to happen there. So it's got some legs. So just both ways. But
Her or the movie?
Yeah.
Gibbo?
Well, mate, I tried to watch the second season of Black Lightning, so I'll clearly give anything a green light.
You are anybody's, basically.
My green light pun. You guys just missed my green light pun. Fuck it. No, I mean, it looks like Blumhouse has had very few failures, so I'll give it a look. It looks really like twisted. They're going down a couple of dark sort of paths with what looking for fame can do to you and force you to do, and sort of chasing that sort of thing. So yeah, I'll give it a look for sure. But I'm with Jared. It's probably a tentative up at this point. Not being the massive horror person that I am, but it looks
like a dark
enough.
hole she gets herself into.
Oh, yeah. Another pun, Joe. No, Maddie there.
Back on higher brow terms, but look, I'm an up because of Blumhouse, and strangely enough, the trailer, although it gives away very little, maybe that's a good thing because sometimes the trailers give away so much that you basically sit there going, "Oh well, I've just seen it all." So maybe it's a good thing that it's kind of gone. It's gone a little bit sort of off that, which means it's intriguing. Yeah. My only problem is I smell a little bit of truth or dare here.
It had the same vibe. With
the
way
it had that
vibe
shot. Where you kind of looked at it and you went, yeah, the idea seems all right, but then again, I don't really know what's going on or how it works. And it sort of didn't grip, and Truth or Dare was a bit of a dud from Blumhouse. So,
but also some of the makeup effects that you see in that trailer looked a lot like the Truth or Dare smiley face thing. Yes. And I was like, oh, this is not a good thing to like harken back to. So
to me, it's an up, but yeah, I mean, again, I'll fall over it.
If
on Netflix, whenever it comes out.
Accidentally.
If the preview's not making a lot of sense, then you're hoping that the movie does.
Yes. Oh, that's what I'm hoping, that they're cutting things together in the preview to deliberately make you unaware of what you're going to be seeing, and then maybe
there was enough to
streamline narrative when it's there.
Yeah. The idea that she's watching her own feed saying this isn't me was enough to make me go, oh, fuck.
Something's going on, yeah.
So I appreciate that and I'll give it a run. All right, let's take a break, and here's the trailer for 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn.
Everybody be cool. You be cool. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Low profile. You understand the meaning of the words low profile?
Sure. Two of America's most dangerous criminals have taken hostages.
What is this? It's called a punch. I'm going to ask you one question, and all I want is a yes or no answer. Do you want to live through this?
Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
One night is all that stands between them and freedom.
This is my kind of place.
But it's going to be one hell of a night.
We might be in trouble. We have a bunch of fucking vampires out there trying to get in here and suck our fucking blood.
Now, their only chance is to fight back.
Oh, yeah!
Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis.
Welcome to slavery.
No thanks. I already had a wife.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn, directed by Robert Rodriguez, who gave us Desperado and Sin City. Produced by Gianni Nunari, who gave us The Departed and Seven.
Oh, yes.
Written by Quentin Tarantino, obviously Pulp Fiction and Django Unchained, and Robert Kurtzman, who did a little film called The Demolitionist, which I have seen, and it's trash. Stars George Clooney as Seth Gecko, Quentin Tarantino as Richard Gecko, Harvey Keitel as Jacob Fuller, and Juliette Lewis as Kate Fuller. The budget was $19 million, and the box office was $25 million in the US. Bit of trivia, and Jared, you'll be interested in this. This was actually originally going to be the second Tales from the Crypt movie instead of Bordello of Blood. But I think they couldn't quite get their act together, both parties, and so they moved away from it. Interestingly enough, the third one of the Tales from the Crypt movie was going to be The Frighteners.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of interesting trivia there.
For old Tales from the
Crypt got screwed.
They fluffed that twice, didn't they?
They bumbled that one up. Okay, general thoughts. Maddie.
Look, it's got enough legs within and great performances. The character actors in there are awesome. Character guys are in there. Cheech as three people didn't quite make sense for me, but it was funny. It had lots of action. It shifted gears. Had Salma Hayek in a bikini. I was very happy.
What out of 5?
Let's go. Yeah, I'm happy with 4.
4.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I had a laugh the whole way through.
Jared.
I'll go 3.5. Again, I had great fun with it. The shifting gears was fantastic at the time. I'm pretty sure I did see it before it got spoiled for me. When the only way it could really get spoiled was your mates going, "You got to watch this. They turn into vampires." And I didn't get.
Spoiler alert again.
I didn't have anyone do that. I didn't have anyone do that for me at the time, so I saw it coming cold and was blown away by that at the time. Yeah, the performances are mostly really good. I got a little bit of an issue after the shifting gears with what happens with the characters and stuff, but I love Robert Rodriguez's directing. When he goes for something like that vampire, the vampire scene, he just fucking goes full tilt and just throws everything at it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. He's got some sensibilities that I really enjoy when it comes to that kind of gory stuff. And yeah, 3.5.
Gibbo.
Yeah, so this was one of the, I hadn't actually seen our previous movie before, I don't think, but this one I'd seen many, many times as a younger person for obvious reasons. Being a preteen when it came out. This is one of the ones you sort of go to your mates' houses and they've got it on VHS and you're like, yes, let's watch this. For the action, obviously, and all the violence.
Obviously, yeah.
But the dialogue now as an adult, the dialogue in this is just so snappy. Tarantino's scripts are always so they're so distinctly his scripts, and the way the characters interact and some of the cool lines, and then you mix that in with his soundtrack choices and stuff like that. They've just got such a character of their own. I think it's got to be probably, as Jared said, the all-time gear shifts of a movie. If you didn't know what was happening in this movie, you think you're going in to watch a crime film, and then what happens in the bar happens. It's just so jarring, but it's effective at the same time. There's obviously some issues with stuff that's happened since with the Me Too thing and everything that happened with this film. There's some stuff now in hindsight which is a bit sketchy.
It looks terrible.
It looks really bad. Some of Tarantino's character traits and the stuff with Juliette Lewis and things. But all that aside, like the movie's so entertaining. Like my wife watched it and she hadn't actually seen it before, and she's like, "This is nonsense," but I just I like it at the same time. And so for her to say that, it's a big deal. So I would go to 3.5 as well.
All right. I was this close to going 4.5.
Whoa.
Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's fantastic. Most of it works, barring a little bit of shitty special effects. And Tarantino's not an actor's bum, basically. But the rest of it was just... It's just right out there. And when I said before, highbrow, this is a vampire B-grade film with Tarantino's script, though, which is A-grade sort of material.
Yeah, and the cast as well.
Yeah, so you're looking at something that's totally... Like, this was after Pulp Fiction, just after Pulp Fiction. So everyone, when it started, would have been thinking, here's another Pulp Fiction. And then suddenly, halfway through, things just go to shit in a huge way. I just loved every minute of it. It's full of bawdy humour. There's bloody heads and limbs flying everywhere. And blood and guts. Sex machine.
Yeah,
brilliant.
With the dick gun.
Brilliant. Loved every bit of it. 4 out of 5. Okay, likes. Gibbo, you mentioned the dialogue. It's nowhere near as good as a Pulp Fiction.
No.
But there's real energy to the way people talk.
Yeah.
And they, as you say, they have a kind of a character of their own based on that.
And the
Not
shit
necessarily
that he talks about, that shit, like the way that he gives you relationships between people, like Seth is dropping the lines that fucking make him kind of like the anti-hero. You kind of dislike a lot of the stuff that he does, but you can tell he's got the honour of, I give these people my word that they're going to stay alive. Then you got Richie arguing over, I saw him, like, he was mouthing, help me, and you immediately get the sense this guy's a little eccentric, he's a fucking pain in the arse, a little bit loony.
Yeah.
Like the way that he gets to those kind of places is really entertaining. This was before he'd got really into himself and would make those scenes in like Death Proof where they talk about the movie Vanishing Point for what seems like fucking 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really, the dialogue's really entertaining.
Yeah.
I think they also do a good job of, they'll give you a little bit, then they'll cut to something else and come back, and you're like, oh, you got to fill in the gaps yourself.
Yeah.
And like, especially that the whole the girl, the woman, the hostage. Like, it's just hilarious.
I'm glad they left the gap for that, and we didn't need to see that shit.
We did not need to see
But
that.
he's just no story. You see the horrible side of him.
Yeah.
Soon as that scene flashes away where she's watching the TV and then it just flashes away and you're like, that's not going to end well for that lady.
Yeah.
Man, I got
But it's
queasy
even
when
just
he was
the gap
sitting there.
between that, like, Seth's come home and he's just like, the fuck's going on in here?
Yeah, where is she?
And he's just at the table going, well, I don't know, what do you mean? She must have done that to herself.
When he's coming and asking her to sit on the bed, as you said, there's a little bit of the real world context in that now, and just the way that Tarantino's a kind of Weasley, kind of weird looking dude. Anyway, I was watching that going, that's really hard.
But taking away what's happened since that sequence in '96, I felt uncomfortable watching it.
Still creepy.
Then, you're just sort of sitting there going, something is going to go on here.
Exactly.
I don't 100% know exactly what is, but it's not going to be good because this guy, we've already got a sense that he loves violence and shit.
And she doesn't know it, but you think like they've got like a cartoon on, and there's a chicken ad or something, and then he's like in that high pitched voice. Do you want to come and sit?
Yeah, it's his like nice voice.
Yeah, it's
quote
like
unquote.
It's horrible.
Like a little boy. Do you want to come in and sit with me?
But even the scene when she sort of walks in first and Seth's talking to her, and it flashes to Richie looking at her, and it does that like background like sort of thing, like you can hear his gut coming unhinged.
Yeah.
Like something's going to happen.
And it happens a couple of times when he sees Juliette Lewis as well.
Yeah. When he's looking at her toes and shit.
Yeah.
Such a creepy motherfucker. Oh.
The cast is solid across the board.
Solid. It's
really
the cast is massive.
Great.
Clooney is got all the swagger and shit required for that sort of leading man anti-hero stuff. But then you got Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, Selma Hayek, Fred Williamson, my personal favourite. John Hawkes in a 5-minute role. Then you got Michael Parks in that same
the Michael Parks role.
Then you got Johnny Saxon,
Tom Savini's surprisingly excellent. Work.
Even Denny Trejo though.
Danny.
Young Denny Trejo.
Looking ripping Nick.
Daddy wasn't ripping Nick.
Weird
Things
haircut.
weren't sagging
Weird
as much as that.
Yeah, it's just, everything's weird. Like you look at him like, oh, you must be like 21 in this, and his face looks like it's been just dragged down the road. Just must have had a tough going.
No, not quite dragged down the road. 10 years in prison. I think is exactly why her face looks like that.
Kelly Preston was in it.
Kelly Preston,
yeah,
basically.
newsreader, like just randomly popping up there.
Yeah. It's stacked. It's stacked, and it's a really good cast. And
Cheech Marin.
Everybody nails it.
Cheech, yeah.
Everybody pretty much nails it.
Michael Parks in 5 minutes is possibly the best actor in the whole thing. It's fucking brilliant.
That opening sequence is just equal parts funny, politically incorrect, cool. You know, the whole everybody be cool, you be cool. You know, all that stuff is just awesome. You know, like, and then it just breaks out into huge violence.
Very quickly, doesn't it?
And
but
during
then
the
it's
violence,
funny.
they're still trying to have a laugh. You know,
like it's funny, like Tarantino insisting that he's, you know, and Hawk's even in the middle of a gunfight, still yelling out, "I didn't!" Like that was. Yeah.
I just love that they used that as that it was actually a cold open as well.
Yeah,
like you come straight from the producers credit sort of thing, or whatever the studio credit, and it comes straight into the car pulling into there, and they're just talking the shit like.
Yeah.
But the talk about the disabled kid working at the cafe and stuff, that stuff is just
shit house.
Oh, it's not good.
You could have got away with that. You could have just made him, you know, said he's a fucking bozo. You didn't have to
say he was actually disabled. Yeah.
But those lines are just fucking brilliant. I don't know how much Michael Parks made up of his own dialogue, but it seems like from movie to movie, especially in these Tarantino ones,
there's a lot of consistency.
Yeah, I think I get the sense that perhaps he had a lot of input.
Yeah,
they're just fucking.
It's almost the same character, just like a through line all the time.
Yeah.
He is the same character in.
He's the same character in this one, and
he was
Planet Terror.
Yeah.
And were they in Death Proof as well? I think they were in both of the.
Yeah, very briefly in Death Proof.
Him and his son, and then Don Johnson actually plays that character on the TV show.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. So.
I just love how he speaks without like his teeth are clenched the whole time, and the only time he opens his teeth is to lick his lips.
Yeah,
it's creepy as shit.
So good though. The lines and the delivery are just. The man was just a walking acting class. He was fucking awesome.
I just love the opening credits to that song, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And it kind of showcases the barren landscape as they're driving along. You see the woman in the boot. You see all that stuff.
That was
it just
weird.
gives you that little
just so it gives you X-ray vision.
Yeah, that didn't look all that good, but I did kind of like the way that the credits were. Like there'd be a line of the credits, and then the car would come driving through, and the credits would be like
sweep off
screen. Yeah,
that toilet roll death as well. He shoots all the alcohol. I was like, oh, this is not going to end well for you, bud.
Yeah, and you get that cool. You see how cool Tarantino Clooney is by. He sits down, he kicks the thing. Thing of lighter fluid falls. He
catches it.
You know, and he pulls out the toilet paper, hoiks it over, lights it on fire. Like, he's done everything real cool. Whereas fucking silly Tarantino can't kill the guy. He's on fire. He's still going. Still trying to shoot him. The opening sequences kind of set the two brothers apart quite well. Yeah. It's not really a character film. It doesn't go deeply into character, but in that opening few sequences, you see that, as Jared said, Clooney's got kind of, gives his word. He doesn't want to kill people unless he absolutely has to. Yeah. He's just the brains, and Richie is just a loose cannon with violence and sex on his mind all the time.
It was established that he Clooney only did it because it was an obstacle. He was trying to get out of that situation and just get out of there. But once it was in his way and impeding him, he's like, well, I'm fucking looking after number one. And there was a little bit of looking after his brother and Richie dragging him into the situation that didn't need to be there. And it finished off like brilliantly where they're squabbling fucking brothers walking out the front and
explosion in the background.
Yeah, these low profile windows go boom, blow out of the place. Like that was just awesome. It was the whole opening 5 minutes until they leave. That is just brilliant.
Yeah.
I didn't feel sorry for Clooney at all, and the only thing I felt sorry for him was that he was carrying this dead weight of this horrible brother around, and he actually was felt responsible, and that was the only time I felt sorry for him. Other than that, I was just like,
yeah, he was a bastard.
Yeah, a jerk.
And he actually finished the movie finishes with a line of that sort of nature. He makes a similar kind of claim about himself being a bastard the whole time.
Yeah.
I love the old guy at the hotel.
Oh,
where he's banging on the
that's one of the
ding, the bloke comes out and goes, oh, what the hell are you And it's like, what do you think, you mean old bastard? I want a room.
That was one of the greatest lines. And the delivery of it too. Again, just even when he's berating the old bloke, he's kind of smooth and smart. You think I want you mean old bastard? I want a fucking room.
Yeah, love it.
I didn't know what the guy was doing when he first came out. He was kind of sitting there kind of shivering. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you? He could barely get the word in.
I love the news report
Yeah.
about the escape because it's kind of taking a sly dig at the media for their sort of
Ambulance chasing.
having to make big deals out of death and destruction. But the way it's done is so funny because they've got the scoreboard that takes it to 13 dead, including 2 more.
And the whole time she's kind of smiling while she's doing it. Like,
And then it says it also included the death of liquor store clerk, whatever his name is, and it shows him he's shirtless with a beer in one hand and a massive fish in the other.
Yeah. That's how you're going to honour this guy. His life's been cut short. Yeah.
Because it shows the 2 coppers before that. And they're that classic sort of police photo where they're in their dress blues and everything, and then it cuts to this dickhead with a beer in one hand and a massive fish in the other. Cameo from Big Kahuna Burger. He brings the Big Kahuna Burger in. That's the food he brings back.
Yeah.
So nice little nod to Pulp Fiction.
And Quentin, well, there's all these like theories about Quentin's movies all being in the same universe and stuff. I don't know how well that ties together, but that sort of little nods to each other is good.
The characters, the Big Kahuna Burger, what's the cigarettes? Red Apple.
Red Apple,
yeah.
You talked about earlier that there's not really much character stuff in it, but I think Harvey Keitel's character, it probably has the best character arc in it.
Yeah.
And he's probably my favourite performance in it. I think Clooney's just Clooneying all over the place, and he's basically like Danny Ocean, but as a criminal. Danny Ocean's obviously a criminal, but you get what I mean. he's a more evil criminal. But Keitel, just how he reacts in different situations with his kids when they're under threat, when he gets bitten and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He just has a lot of different things when he's talking about his dead wife when they're in the RV.
Faith and
That whole conversation, I don't want to be your friend, just...
let's keep it like
that stuff between them was going along really well. Like the way that they were kind of finding something they both needed in each other. Even though they were just he kind of hated Clooney, but then he was kind of becoming a father figure to him almost. And telling him
And there's also a bit of a grudging respect later on when they're in the bar together and Clooney wants to go back and belt that bloke.
Yeah.
And he's like, you've won, Just
and
enjoy
you
it.
that much of a
that was
loser.
awesome, wasn't
And
it?
he goes, have a drink with me. I insist,
Yeah.
And so he does, and they clink glasses.
Stop making that stupid
cool.
decision that you always make
Yeah.
and just listen.
I thought that was really cool,
That stuff was good. I felt that was kind of developing along. And
Character development goes out the window about the halfway.
As soon as the vampires turn up, they eat all the character development along with all the characters.
So with that in mind, just a quick. This goes back to your query previously, Joe. This isn't a like or a dislike, but when the vampire transition happens, was that going to happen anyway? Is it because Richie's hand was bleeding?
It was
always going to happen.
It was always going to happen, but it just kind of...
Because remember they came across all that shit in the back room?
I just didn't know if that would have happened if Richie wasn't just dripping blood all over the place because he got stabbed in the hand.
That didn't help, I think.
It didn't really... it wasn't really... I got the sense that once Santanico came out, they'd lock the doors up and they'd do that shit anyway, but it was just kind of a neat way to put it out there that she kind of gets going from that. And I think it was going to happen anyway.
Just quietly, though, coming back to Tarantino and his awful character, there's a couple of bits late after when they grab the family where you can just see that there's something not right about the whole situation. He takes the gun and he shoves it in the kid's mouth, but he kind of jams it in there so he gags.
It's a very sexual...
It's very, and then he starts looking at Juliette Lewis in a certain way.
Yeah, she cops it a lot. Cheech in the toilet with her as well.
Yeah, that wasn't...
So uncomfortable.
Yeah. I had mixed feelings about the death of the hostage and the fact that he raped her and murdered her. I had mixed feelings about it because initially I was thinking this could be in a dislike, so I didn't really like this. But in a way, I kind of understood what they were trying to do with him and his brother. They were trying to separate the fact that his brother, I'm stuck with this guy, I love him, but fucking something wrong with him. But also, I think it kept you a little bit disarmed that the twist was coming. Because it was it was a gritty crime sort of film with a little bit of humour, but then it suddenly twists on itself at halfway,
Yeah.
and that sort of sequence keeps you going, where are we going from here? You know, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You don't see vampires ripping everyone's head off.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it's way worse now in hindsight with a lot
Yeah,
of other
totally.
stuff that's happened. But like, I think him walking up behind the sheriff and executing him in the liquor store probably told you enough about Richie's character that you didn't probably need him murdering
Yeah.
a fucking bank teller and
Prior
raping her.
to that stuff, it was done.
But they had to kind of get rid of her too, I guess.
It was pulled back enough that you kind of just took it as okay. It's pushing the line a little bit with him, but as you said, it's also kind of putting him as a real fucking burden to Seth. But it's impossible to watch it now without, the links to Weinstein that the movie has, Tarantino's own treatment of women on sets and shit that's come out a little bit.
Yeah.
It just looks really bad.
Yeah.
Some
And
of
in
the stuff
fact,
that he does.
looking at it now, it possibly could have been a good opportunity to see that side of Clooney that he wouldn't kill everybody unless he had to, was cutting her loose.
Yeah.
They needed to
Yeah.
lose her. She couldn't be in the film.
He was so
any
disgusted
longer.
with what had happened.
Yeah.
Why did you do this? Yeah.
Why do you think this is what I am?
Yeah,
and that
and
was
I think
kind of
that
trying
was-
to get that across.
I think
I
that
am
was
not
that was kind of what redeemed it enough for me when I watched it originally. This never really got on my list of the ones that I was really down on for that angle. And it was when Clooney comes back in and just wants to fucking strangle him almost. He's grabbing him by the shoulder. He's like, "Why do you do this?
Yeah.
What
Do you think that
and
I want to
then
do
that
this?
turns
There's that
into-
tension.
that
You
turns
think he's
into
going
like
to kill his own brother.
Yeah, that turns into like a hug of like, I've got to fucking deal with you because you're.
Once we get to Mexico, we can leave this life behind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like he definitely isn't going to murder any more people down there. Like,
I love the scene when they're hiding in the toilet in the camper in the camper van. They're right at the border.
Good suspense
It's getting
there.
suspenseful. But he goes, "You're acting like a bit of a fucking nut back there." Oh, what was that?
Yeah.
You think I was like a nut? He's like, "Keep your voice down." Oh, fuck this. He starts going off. It's like you can't even keep your mouth shut for like 2 seconds to get
when
over
your
the
fucking
border.
life's on the line.
And then he just jobs him with a good solid elbow.
When he knocked him out, that might be the best part of the movie because it was a combo of the character being, you just need to do that. But Tarantino as an actor, it's like, I needed that for myself as well.
And the way Clooney just elbows him and then kind of goes like this.
Shakes the neck.
no, he breaks he like cracks his neck. Doesn't he? Like, like it's such a big stress relief just to have the guy shut the fuck up. And then Juliette Lewis is like the she's like the avatar for the whole audience, going, "Thank you for that." Like, just shut him up.
And when he wakes up, what happened? Oh, you just sort of passed out, man. Hit your head on the toilet.
You said your hand was hurting and you just passed out, mate. I mentioned it earlier on, but Tarantino's movies are famous for this, but the soundtrack is just perfect. Every single song from the band in the bar to the intro music, you say like the Dark Knight thing and all that stuff is so good. It just sets the perfect mood for the movies he's making at the time. Like Django was really good for it. With the Ennio Morricone stuff, and this movie is just awesome for it. Every single time you hear a song, it puts you in the right frame of mind for the scene that it's behind. So love that.
It's a character in itself. Just about, it tells part of the story for you.
And they're always really obscure, like songs that are really like niche, sort of really like real trendy to one specific thing, and they just always work.
No Los Lobos though.
No Los Lobos. yeah, let's stop going. Come on in, pussy lovers. One of the greatest speeches in the history of the world.
So good.
Alright, pussy, come on in, pussy lovers. Here at the Titty Twister, we're slashing pussy in half. Give us an upper on our best selection of pussy. This is a pussy blowout. Alright, we got white pussy, black pussy, Spanish pussy, yellow pussy. We got hot pussy, cold pussy. We got wet pussy. We got smelly pussy, we got hairy pussy, bloody pussy, we got snapping pussy, we got silk pussy, velvet pussy, nalga hide pussy, we even got horse pussy, dog pussy, chicken pussy. Come on, you want pussy? Come on in, pussy lovers. If we don't got it, you don't want it. Come on in, pussy lovers. Attention, pussy shoppers, take advantage of our penny pussy sale. If you buy one piece of pussy at the regular price, you will get another piece of pussy of equal or lesser value for only a penny. Try and be pussy for a penny. If you can find cheaper pussy anywhere, fuck it.
When Cheech is going through all the different kinds of pussy, I thought it was Bubba Gump. The Bubba Gump thing.
Oh, yeah.
We got
fried shrimp. Shrimp sandwich.
Exactly. Is it 2 pussies for a penny?
equal or lesser value.
The second one for a penny. You find cheaper pussy anywhere? Fuck it.
Oh, that is one of the great intros to the bar there. Sex Machine and his dick gun.
Yeah.
Sex Machine in general, I was a huge fan of.
Brilliant.
I love when he introduces himself. She's like, "Oh, my name's Katie." He goes, "My name's Sex Machine."
And he's just like so casual about it, like my name's Dave or something. He's like, my name's Sex Machine. Like,
He's very earnest, isn't he?
He also has one of the greatest. The look on his face and the way he delivers the line when the place goes to shit and the bloke comes charging and he goes, and he's like, what the fuck? And then his dick gun just goes, and just takes him out. It's like,
You've got to love the improvised dick gun too. How did he operate that?
I don't know.
seemed to be mind control.
He unsheathed it and then sheathed it again somehow.
I know how he did it, but it was very, very interesting. Very cool.
I loved it. I also love the fact that after kicking ass, him and Fred Williamson have kicked ass. They turn around, see the band, and let's go kill the fucking band. Yeah.
Kill that fucking band. I'm going to say the dick gun actually reminded me of Austin Powers with the boob machine guns. Like the genitalia / body parts that turn into weapons. I for some reason I just flashed straight to that. And I haven't seen that movie for ages.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh man,
I liked how quickly Kate just got tempted into that world though when they're offering her the drinks.
Yeah, she's like,
yes,
please.
I'll be in it.
Yeah, she's.
How did she get into the bar though? Her and her
They
brother.
did not give a shit in Mexico.
Yeah,
sure.
mate. She
Not
was a
that
Mexican, dodgy Mexican joint.
Cheech is like, your pussy needs to stay outside.
What's he call it? A strawberry pie, right? Apple pie pussy.
God, he's a seedy bastard. He plays it so well.
Oh man, I love when the vampires go on the attack though. It just does not skimp on the gore. There is just shit flying everywhere.
It's going everywhere. And then, like, one of the funniest bits for me, like, when it shifts gears, it was one of the biggest. What the fuck is going on here? Like, when I first saw it, it was unbelievable. But the bit where they turn around and the bloke in the band's playing a fucking
body guitar.
It's just, and because, you know, Rodriguez, the way he shoots it, it's comedic. It's fucking funny. The head's jiggling around.
And the hands flopping at the end of the stem.
And one leg's jammed where his balls would have been.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
the fact that I look at that and I say, yeah, that's classic kind of, you know, it's Tarantino and Rodriguez just colliding where they continue to play the song throughout but switch to their dead body instruments.
Which just materialised from somewhere.
Oh man. I also love when Fred Williamson takes 4 different women and impales them on a table.
I like that transition though. You see the green blood on the knife and you're like, something's happening here. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
That's
too.
a nice way to transition into
it's surprisingly subtle for a movie that then decides to explode into hyper violence.
Yeah, there's not much subtlety from that point on.
There's one scene where Juliette Lewis is backpedaling and she's stepping back and the camera goes down to her feet and there's fucking one arm here and she steps over, there's a head. It's just gore all over the floor. It's like shit.
Before that scene happens, though, like one of my favourite lines is when Santanica finishes her performance, and everyone's sort of just in this like stunned silence, and then George Clooney starts clapping. He's like, "That's what I call a fucking show." And I'm like, "Meanwhile, that's like the most basic dance thing of all time. All it is that she's just so spectacularly hot, and then does the whiskey pouring down thing into he enjoyed that way too much.
If we're critiquing on the dancing, not quite there.
No, he's just kind of gyrating slowly to like a pretty funky song, but other than that, it's not much going on in
a
that
bit
one.
of a side-to-side jiggle.
Shouldn't even get the cans out. Everyone else in there's topless, and everyone's going off about this chick with a snake.
Settle
down, Harvey.
She just kind of goes like this.
So she's just swaying.
Classic Moosehead Saturday night.
Except after 17 grogs, the swaying was a little less stable.
Plus, there wasn't enough underage people in there to be Mooseheads.
Yeah, I think the Titty Twister might have been the private bin. Upstairs, downstairs, stuck to the floor.
Yeah, including dead bodies on the floor.
You're giving your age away now, Andy. Jesus.
Imagine calling a place the private bin and it being so popular for so long.
It's a big concern.
You've opened it up to us and the place is fucking trash, right?
Anyone can get in and it's for garbage.
It's a bin, but it's private. We only let in the biggest pieces of human garbage into our private bin.
You don't want to see the public bin down the street.
We were in there fucking weekly.
On a side note, one of the owners is my accountant now, so
wow.
Yeah.
No, isn't the private bin?
You can tell he's got stories anyway, just won't tell.
Yeah, it's well gone. It's been like 6 different things since then.
Yeah. The bin's long gone.
Yeah.
I used to love being stuck to the floor. You'd be in there, you'd stand in the corner, have a drink, then you'd go to get another one.
Yeah. You're like Velcro to the carpet.
Yeah, they velcroed you to the spot.
I don't think anyone in there knew what a mop was.
Well, once you started hitting the bourbon and coke jugs, I felt constantly like I was stuck to the floor. I barely moved myself anywhere.
They were the days, mate. Good old days.
Yeah.
Back to the film. Best line in the movie. Hey, Monkey Man. Anything you got to say to them, you can say to me first. They just rips the bloke's arm out.
That was so weird. And then it capped off with the pencil, going to stick the pencil in the heart.
But I also love the way he goes, the way he says it, he kind of delivers it. Then the monster turns on him, so he goes, yeah.
Sizes up.
It goes into like a martial arts stance out of nowhere. It doesn't come up before or after in the movie. With that scene, when they go into the back room and they're like sort of doing the little montage where they're arming up, and George Clooney builds his like motorized that's the most impractical weapon. It's super.
It's a dumb weapon.
You better off just having a stick. Yeah. It's just because it's kind of like this gyrating like wooden like phallus. I think is the only reason they went with it.
I'm just like, did you see how much damage you did with the pool cue? Just
Yeah.
get a few of those. I like the look of some of the vampires. Some of them look like Baraka.
Or bats. Yeah, the Baraka thing from Mortal Kombat, sure. But they definitely look like bats. Like they had like the split nose thing and
And there's one that you see later on when the piss funny scene where it goes to slow-mo and 4 of the vampires step into shot. And one of them's got like a mouth where its guts should be. And then it cuts to the other side of the room and you got Sex Machine and bloody Fred Williams and Harvey Keitel all lined up.
It's
They
like a game or
both start
something
striding
almost,
towards
isn't
each
it?
other.
Now, the bit I loved about that one is that the 3 of those vampires are really attractive, and then the one on the left looks like your nan. Like she's got like the 2 big like footy socks with cricket balls and hanging on either side, big beer gut and everything. It's like, where's that one come from? Well, that must have been one of the bar staff or something.
Look, again, completely politically correct, but the scene where Fred Williamson talks about getting out of Vietnam, killing a Viet Cong platoon, and he gives you all the movements, and it cuts away at one point to Sex Machine changing, and so there's no dialogue, but all you can see is this bloke going, stabbing everything and doing all these bloody ridiculous maneuvers. He's like, he just gets to the end and starts talking about some awful stuff about how he wipes a certain flesh off his bloody bayonet.
Yeah, well, he actually references yellow flesh. And, like, that was
once again a bridge too far. They should have removed that little.
You wouldn't expect really highbrow characters in that establishment, though.
No, but I mean, fuck. It's
that's one step too far.
Tarantino just doesn't know where the line is. Like the whole thing in Pulp Fiction that we know all about, and then he's finally like,
it's just shock value.
He doesn't quite know when. Like, there was no need for it. That is like, one word.
That scene works exactly the same without what that
necessarily.
Yeah, you remove the one word, and that's it. It's exactly the same. And it's more humorous when you see him acting it all out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, that's where the laugh is.
Yeah, yeah.
Is doing that.
Well, so yeah, because Savini's sitting there and he's got that look on his face when he's going, oh, and when the voices are coming around.
And then the hands change and he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, but the whole time, Fred Williamson's there with no dialogue, but as you said, making the movements and getting right into
cracking
it.
necks and cutting throats and all this sort of stuff.
And everyone else is kind of sitting there going, oh, fuck.
That scene with Savini, though, where his hands start changing and stuff and he's putting them behind his back, reminded me of Teen Wolf when he's caught in the corridor with the principal.
Definitely.
And he's got to pull his hands out and they're all like fine. I thought it was exactly the same.
Yeah. And again, I think this is why this movie works, is because that's all played with a humorous element.
Yeah.
You know, it's not super serious. It's like it's actually kind of camp as he does all that.
It's hugely camp.
But that's what works. That's the reason why it works. The finale is just... I mean, there is just shit flying everywhere. There's people exploding left and right.
Rodriguez is going flat knackers. They are just absolutely throwing everything at it.
At one point, Harvey Keitel stabs him like with a shotgun, then proceeds to reload.
Using his torso.
And there's very little sort of continuity as to what's going to kill the vampires and how they go.
The rules get bent and then broken.
Yeah, but you don't really care because they're doing whatever is going to look spectacular and
there's so many of them. You're just like, nah, whatever.
Exactly.
The one where what's the kid's name? Scott. Yeah, and the vampire, he's doing that kill me Kate, which reminded me of the Duke Nukem thing when they're like the people are in the wall or whatever. But he's doing the kill me Kate, and then she shoots him with a crossbow,
and he explodes.
And all four of them explode.
No, it wasn't a crossbow. It was a shot. It was a gun.
Oh, the handgun. That's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but either way,
he explodes. Yeah,
there's no reason for him
and
to
so
explode.
did they. They all explode at the same time.
Yeah, and there's just green goo falling.
But again, Rodriguez
on the bullet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, true.
Oh,
the cross was written on.
But he would have been. Maybe he's a vampire. But
no, but
well, that's
Rodriguez. His direction was just blow everything up.
But even with the, like Matty said, like with the stakes to the heart, half the time they're going into their belly buttons, and there's like wooden stake to the heart kills vampires, not like a stab in the leg or something. You know, like there's just so much blurring of the rules. Of
and then once they actually break open the doors and everything, shit's just going
exploding. Everyone just explodes, which I loved.
The light coming in through the holes in the wall was a good line. Otherwise, there's like no way they get out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love Cheech's my final like is the line at the end. Well, were they psychos? They weren't fucking psychos, they were fucking vampires. Psychos don't explode when hit by sunlight. I don't care how fucking crazy they are.
I also like when they start, talking about how can we make it better, and he's like, for starters, 30%. He's like, I lost my brother, she lost her family, and Cheech goes, 28?
But I love it. He goes 15 and they go 20 and he goes, all right, 20. He goes to shake, he goes, 25. You
motherfucker. Yeah, that was good.
Any other likes?
Yeah, the ending, the bit at the end where you see
the temple.
Yeah, like killer ending, really, really good. Does not pass the thing test at all.
No,
it is a killer ending.
Like, is there any plane flying over that place?
Yeah, exactly. Or has anyone, driven to or gone out to have a smoke and gone, fuck?
Maybe it's like the Hotel California though. Like you can't leave once you've checked in.
Yeah.
No, that's it for me though, for the specifics.
I can't remember what it was in reference to, but the line, Peter Cushing does it all the time.
Yeah. It was about when they were talking about how do we kill vampires.
Yeah.
And Savini once again just pipes up randomly about how Peter Cushing was into holy water.
Yeah.
Or silver. Sorry, he's talking about silver, and then she goes, that's werewolves.
Great.
That's werewolves. And he goes, no, it's something to do with silver. And she goes, does anyone have any silver? No. Then who gives a shit? It's not fucking necessary.
I liked Juliette Lewis, her transition into I don't want to stab someone, and then she just starts going nuts as well.
Yeah, I loved it. Dislikes.
Tarantino.
Tarantino is not an actor.
He just tries too hard, seemingly. In everything I've seen him in, he just tries too hard to be the cool guy.
And it hurts more here because he's a lead.
Yeah.
He's a lead role, and he's got more to do, and everything he has to do is really seedy, and he's just got nothing to work with. There's not a lot of character to it anyway, so
I cracked up when he first turned into a vampire and his head got really big and distorted, and I looked at it and I thought, that's kind of what he looks like now. Foreshadowing.
You know what that made me think of in The Mask?
2008.
The main bad guy when he puts the mask on.
Yeah.
It looks exactly like that.
Yeah, really head, hot, big cheekbones, big jaw.
But yeah, I looked at it and his hair was kind of fluffed up and thin. I'm like, that's kind of what Quentin looks like in 2018.
Yeah.
With a bloated head.
Appearance goals, Quentin. We mentioned it before, the references to disabled people and some of the racial elements, massively problematic. They're played for shock value, which that's Quentin's like go-to thing, but it gets a bit tiresome at some
I guess
points.
I look at it this way: the bloke wants to write a script how he wants to write it, and if he wants to put those things in, I don't feel they were necessary in this particular film, for the most part, and they could have been excised without hurting it.
Yeah, you can see he's trying to go for gritty. These people don't give a shit, so that's kind of what they'd say.
And some,
not worried about offending
we're talking
anyone.
about guys on the fringes.
Yeah,
so that's what they're like.
The thing is, at the end of the day, we're watching a B-grade fucking monster movie when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't... When you wrap it all up, you kind of think... doesn't really seem all that necessary.
Yeah, it's about necessary.
Given that you could have got a lot of that stuff in and dropped one or two words...
Yeah, that would have given them the same effect.
It would have had the same effect, yeah.
The bottom line is it's about whether it's necessary or not. And I think
like
to me
Michael
it was
Parks,
never,
Michael Parks dropping the line about that fucking idiot would was rat shit and Rice Krispies. Like that would have still been funny if he hadn't have been talking about so and so's mongoloid or whatever he drops before that.
Yeah.
The line is still funny, and they can talk about this bloke who's a fucking idiot without it necessarily having to be
being a disabled person.
Yeah,
Like you look at something like Django Unchained, that the sketchy like text in that one is probably more necessary and probably more accurate to the period that it was set in. Like it probably makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But this one just feels like it's just doing it just to try and get a rise out of people.
Yeah, and it's trying to... I mean, at the end of the day, Django Unchained's trying to attack some of that shit too.
Yeah, it's like pointing it out, whereas this is kind of trying to romanticise
But again,
that thought.
you hit the nail on the head. This is a B-grade vampire movie. So why do we need comments about racial comments and things like that? I just don't think it was necessary. And agreed, I think there could have been ways around it that didn't require what was said.
Yeah.
Basically. Special effects, CGI, at its early days, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, a couple of the
all.
heads morphing from one to the other
Yeah.
were pretty seedy.
When they get stabbed in the heart and they kind of disappear, they look pretty shit house.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's time period. It's the kind of stuff that was available to you.
Yeah, hard to hold it against it, and the prosthetics like Sex Machine's head, fucking half his head when he has the holy water thrown on him. Yeah. That sort of stuff looks great.
Yeah, it looked alright. Yeah,
and then so it's kind of you take it for what it is in the time period.
The only other dislike I've got is the practical effect of the rat.
Yeah,
that comes out of Sex Machine.
Why?
I don't know, but it looks terrible. Like it is just Clooney. You can see Clooney is kind of trying to work with, like, kind of using his body to move it because it's not moving at all. It's basically just going.
Yeah, it's like a bit of rubber.
It looks really, really poor.
Yeah. I think one of the worst effects for me was the vampire that dies on the pool table and his eyeballs roll into the corner pockets. That one, it's just like, as it's happening, you're like, what is this? And then the eyeballs do it and you're like, come on, like, just stupid. Just really bugged me for some reason.
Good.
I was really bugged that when I was watching Salma Hayek, all I could think was, oh man, I'm glad she doesn't have the Frida eyebrow.
She looked so young in this. Like, when you look at her face, she had still had the rounded I don't know how old she was. She was like 19 or 20 in this, like really young. I'm guessing.
She was fairly young. Yeah, she Desperado was around the same time.
Was it before or after this though?
I think it was before.
Really?
Yeah.
She looks younger in this than she did in Desperado even.
Yeah, I think it was only like 2 years difference, maybe 95 was Desperado.
Shit.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of nostalgia watching this because those actors have all obviously still got careers. Or
she still looks amazing now. God bless her.
Yeah, she does look.
But so it's kind of cool to watch them as though.
Yeah, the Trejo one for me was awesome.
It's funny to watch Clooney because now he's grey and he's quite.
Hey, he's salt and pepper, mate.
I know he's salt and pepper, but he doesn't look anything like
Nespresso.
Nespresso.
His tattoo was the worst ever.
Oh, the arm sleeve to neck tattoo.
No,
such a douche. Like that's
what
just
was
bad.
going on back then?
I was like, he's a bad person. Why would you do that to yourself?
And we mentioned it as one of the positives. I think the transition from crime comedy to sci-fi horror is like it's kind of effective how it works, but it's also so jarring. Depending on how you're looking at the film, it could really take you out of it and just sort of make you switch off and go, I don't know what I'm watching anymore.
Yeah, it really halted the characters too. As much as I love like Sex Machine and Fred Williamson's character,
they were just
once they all come into it, the other guys just they kind of
stayed into the background.
They just sort of stopped there, and everyone's just like, let's get the hell out of here, which works for what it is. But prior to that, the crime stuff was really working well too.
And even the character stuff between, like you said, between Seth and the preacher and stuff like that just all goes by the wayside for the most part.
Yeah, so it kind of, once they get there, it's just like, which obviously was part of their plan. Just
it was the pitch,
say, right,
I think watching it again made you realise, though, as soon as they arrive at the Twister, something different's going to happen, because the places, I mean, fuck, we laughed about it being the private bid, but Jesus. I mean, as soon as you see it, you're like, I wouldn't be stopping here in a
I was like, Harvey Keitel would have been like, all right, I'm going to keep my family in the van. You take the keys, go in, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Or how about you guys just go? We won't say anything. Take your cash.
Yeah.
I love when you walk. The only other thing you get is Clooney goes in and he asks how the food is, and the guy's like, best in Mexico, and he's like, I doubt it. Like, there's no way you're eating an enchilada from that place. You're just guaranteed to tie yourself to the
unless you want explosive diarrhea, followed by your throat ripped out.
I would rather fight the vampires than deal with fucking what's coming after that enchilada.
Out of the kitchen. Yeah, no thanks.
Beef taco.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something, mate. It's keeping the bloody vampires at bay. I'm dropping a load when they go off, mate, because they're not coming in after.
They'll come in, you'll be like, do you mind? They'll open the door and just leave you. Just leave him there. No one's going in there.
Don't worry, he'll gas himself out.
I wasn't a big fan of the they look like they're about to kill all the vampires, and then 2,000 bats come into the thing. I was like, that's a bit silly. Like, it's too many. That's a bit excessive. Where were they before? And that was
they were in the temple.
Down up and underneath.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all these vampires
private bit.
A really nice area, the basement.
Are all these vampires so amateurish that they're gonna be out when it's light?
Yeah.
They've been around for thousands of years or whatever, and they figured this whole system.
And they probably have all the cracks in the joint papered up too, so sunlight just doesn't just team in and like burn them all to death.
To me, though, it's actually one of the likes in that.
There's much more blood spatter from 2,000 bats.
They don't bother to give us to go into any depth about the origins of these vampires. They don't, they give you the dance and they give you the sense that she's kind of the key one, and there's just thousands of vampires in there. Where they go, what they're doing in there, where they go from, and how you kill them, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
it's just on for young and old. So to me, that was probably a positive that they avoided any of that shit.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have had any time either because they were halfway through the film.
And no one's asking the questions either, to be honest. Like,
no,
I don't need that.
But a lot of these movies they feel a need to do it.
Yeah.
I better explain this. We better give a little bit of a sense of how they came to be.
You did not need it. Yeah,
didn't need it.
Are you using in hand-to-hand combat a whip?
No.
Absolutely. If I'm Tom Savini.
I love how he throws the wooden stake, which has been proven to kill vampires, to the vampire, wraps his feet up, pulls him on his thing, steals the thing back, snaps it, and then stakes him with it.
Yeah.
That's just a baller move.
I like it. He's kind of got like a the movements of like a matador when he's cracking the whip. His feet are kind of wicked and stuff.
When he jumps up on the pool table, he overacts that so hard.
Yeah, he
does that spin and
he throws a woman over his shoulder and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was looking at that and it kind of got me in like a Bruce Campbell kind of way. I'm like, Savini knows exactly what he's doing. He knows he's not an actor and he's just playing it up, and it's kind of awesome.
It was good.
I mentioned it earlier on, but the Richie's death. Once he's turned into the vampire and Seth's like, that's my brother, you're not going to kill him sort of thing, and then goes completely the other way, has a full 180 and just murders him, and then it feels like they're trying to get you to sympathise with it. And like, Richie was a absolute abomination of a human, and Seth isn't that much better, really.
No.
You shouldn't be sympathising with either of these people, and that scene, it probably just needed to be just left out. Like, just kill the guy as soon as he turns into a vampire, murder him, and just move on, and let the crowd, let the audience just be like, yeah, cool.
Or he just gets taken on the fly, and they just find him turned already.
Yeah, but just don't try and play it for
just in amongst
sympathy.
the rest of them.
It's not a thing. Yeah.
Tarantino's character needed to go as gruesomely and as fucking he's just scum.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would have been the payoff. That's your payoff.
Yeah.
He was an absolute bastard.
In a
Even
way,
if Juliette Lewis
destroyed.
had managed to dispatch him in some way or something, that would have been a good, like...
In a way, it made me dislike Clooney's character more when he was like, no, don't kill him. It's like, finally, for him, it should have been, finally, I get this piece of shit out of my life.
Yeah, it should have
He's
just
also
been
a vampire.
Yeah.
Like,
it should have just been a simple line of, like, sorry. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like him crying as he does it, yeah.
You've had these coming.
Yeah. But
yeah,
that could
That'd
have
be a
been
good metaphor because he's a monster, full stop.
Yeah, true. Exactly right.
Any other dislikes?
I had two more. I think Santanico went a bit easily.
Yeah.
Considering she was introduced as like the ultimate
ringleader.
evil, and it felt like kind of again trying to take a bit of shock value. You've taken out that, you know, we expected her to be the big bad, and then boom, she's gone very, very early. So that, I don't know, it felt
But it was too early. We didn't get to see any power. We didn't get to
just
see
a
any...
little bit early. My other one, the one that bugged me the most, is because I was loving that vampire stuff so much that I was letting things slide, but I just couldn't let slide the inconsistency with the time it takes for people to change into a vampire.
Yeah.
Unbelievably inconsistent. Like
Williamson.
Yeah, well, Sex Machine takes, what, about
10 minutes?
there's a few minutes in between where he gets bitten. Williamson is
instant,
almost instant. Then Harvey Keitel
says he's about an hour.
Yeah, he takes forever.
Yeah.
He goes through the whole little montage.
His bite was exactly the same as what happened to Sex Machine.
Yeah,
so like it's the same on the forearm and everything.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Sort of,
It was almost like just having it to say, oh well, he's going to join the fight. He's important.
I think they
he gets an hour. To
it looked
survive.
like they just sort of brushed that to get on with the action, and didn't get bogged down with that sort of stuff. But that was the only one that was just plainly obvious to me that I was kind of like, that needed to be cleaned up a little.
Yeah, I lumped that in kind of with the the vampires being stabbed in the stomach with stakes and dying and that sort of stuff, or ones that inexplicably burst into flames when other things happen, and then some of them turn into slime. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had, and you just reminded me of it, I actually didn't write it down, but Santanica, when she turns into the vampire, her makeup looks like something from like Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
She had like the little like leopard blotches and
Alien
stuff
Nation.
like that. Yeah, Alien Nation, that's what it was.
But no other vampire looked like that. And again, that's the same thing that Jared was saying, that she was supposed to be the big bad. Maybe that was her look was supposed to be different.
Well, it was supposed to be
dispatched in
going from. I didn't really get this until I watched the series actually, but it's all the snake stuff. Like she's got the big snake statue. She dances with a snake.
Oh, okay.
She's supposed to look like a snake, but
that makes sense. And then all
she looks like someone out of
Alien Nation.
An Alien Nation.
That's what I was trying to think of. Was Alien Nation? I couldn't think of the name of it. You've nailed it. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I think it was something to do with the snake, which gets fleshed out in the TV show. I have watched season 1 and kind of left it there. I will go back to it at some point. Netflix. I'll stumble onto it one day. But yeah, it was something to do with the snake, which is why she looked like that.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
Anything else?
No, don't think
you guys covered most of my other ones.
Loved it. That was From Dusk Till Dawn. You can find our podcast on iTunes, Spotify and Podomatic. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrillme Podcast Australia, or at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at Thrillme Podcast. Next episode, keep an eye out on the Facebook page for further details. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.